Hello, this is Britt Caswell with another example video. In this video, I'm covering example 3 from section 4-1 in the SavvasRealize Algebra 1 textbook. So in this video, we're focusing on how to write a system of equations. So how to read through a word problem and create an equation. So our word problem says, Monisha and Holly have 14 more days to finish reading the same novel for class. Monisha plans to read 9 pages each day. I'm going to go ahead and underline that in blue. So that's for Monisha. While Holly plans to cover 20 pages each day. Now those are rates, y'all. If you have pages per day or pages each day, those are rates, so those are probably our slopes for our equation, just so you know. It says, assuming Holly and Monisha both maintain their reading plan, when will Holly catch up with Monisha, and who will finish reading the novel first? So then it has a little screen cap of their book or their e-reader, and it says what page they're on out of how many. Alright, so those are going to be important numbers. So let's start by focusing on Monisha. Alright, so our y value is going to be the total number of pages. And we already knew their slope, right? We said when you have a rate like this, that is a slope. But then we also need our y-intercept. Alright, our y-intercept is the initial starting point. So Monisha is currently on page 96, so that is going to be my y-intercept. So now if I go to do this for Holly, it's going to work the same way. I'm still going to have y, which is the number of pages. Now her rate, her slope, is 20 pages per day. So I have 20x. But Holly's a lot further behind than Monisha was. Holly only has read 6 pages. So that's her I value, or I'm sorry, her b value, her y-intercept. So now what we have is we have 2 equations, and we have to figure out where they're intersecting. Because our question is asking, it says, assuming that they're both using this, like maintaining their reading plan, so they're not changing what they're reading, when will Holly catch up with Monisha? So what that's asking is when will these two have the same values for y? Now I know that this section is about graphing, but instead of graphing, I'm just going to say, well, this expression equals y and this expression equals y. So I'm going to set these expressions equal to each other. So I'm going to say that 9x plus 96, which is Monisha's equation, is equal to the 20x plus 6. Alright, this is a method called substitution you guys are going to learn in the next section. But you guys could see if you have 2 things equal to the same value, then they're equal to each other. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because if I was to try to graph these, a y-intercept of 96 versus 6, that would be a hot mess to graph. And our slopes are kind of intensely sloped. So a graph for this would be really hard to look at. So now I'm going to try to get all my x's to one side, so I'm going to subtract 9x from each side. So I have 96 is equal to 11x plus 6. And then I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 6 from each other, or sorry, from each side. So I get 90 is equal to 11x. And then to find x, I'm going to divide both sides by 11. Now I don't know what that is off the top of my head, so I have to actually use a calculator. I get 8.18 repeated for my x value. Now remember, the x is the number of days. So it will take 8 days and a few hours for Holly to catch up. Now, because it's asking you to answer it in days, you might instead answer 9 days because of that portion of a day. But I'm okay calling it 8 days and a couple hours. So then it asks, who's going to finish reading the novel first? Well, at 8 days, or 8.18 days, they have made themselves match, right? So the first thing I need to do is I need to make sure that that 8 days is still within the page numbers, because there's 220 pages in this book. So first I'm going to plug in 8 into this equation just to make sure that I still have enough days to consider this. It doesn't matter which one you plug it into. I like multiplying by 20 instead of 9 though, so that's where I'm plugging in 8 for. That's 160 plus 6. So at 8 days, alright, Holly is at page 166, so she still has some time to go. Okay, so they still have 4 days that both of these girls are going to be reading. Now, at those 8 days, right, they pretty much match each other. But if you look, Holly is reading at a much faster rate. She's reading 20 pages per day. So Holly will finish before Monisha will. And that's because she's just reading at a faster rate. So there we go. So that is how we write a system of equations and then solve it. Until next time.